Welcome to this edition of the Tiger Men's Basketball Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Pat Scarry. And Coach, mixed bag this week. The Tigers at home against Stony Brook, a good 69-57 victory, and then a tough loss at Monmouth on Sunday night, 72-71. Let's go to the Stony Brook game. Tyler Tejada with a career-high 33 points. You held them to 33% shooting, and you were able to really dominate the board. You had a plus 10 against a good rebounding team.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things we did well, right? Defend, rebound, and then Tejada was sensational. I thought, and Dylan played really well too. I mean, 5 assists, no turnovers. So it was, yeah, it's kind of like if you could draw it up, that's the way you'd want to draw it up. But anytime a guy that type of performance, obviously it jumps out off the page.
Yeah, the other thing is Stony Brook probably is the surprise team of the league. They were picked down, I think, 11th in the preseason poll, and here they are. They're battling for a top 4 spot.
Yeah, we knew they were good when they added those guys, Pratt and Brown. Those are highly sought-after transfers in the portal in this day and age, and same thing with the kid Goods, who had a really good year at Hampton the year before. So, they've made Gino's a really good coach, and they've made a pretty good commitment up there, like a lot of places, and they've had a really good conference season.
All right, then Sunday, Monmouth, tough environment. It was loud. It was a good crowd for Monmouth on a Sunday night, national television. And a game where you led for much of it, but coming down the stretch, unfortunately, the free throws would not go in.
Yeah, good game. Great atmosphere up there at Monmouth. I thought they did a really good job. You don't know what you're getting. That's kind of a weird game time. Kudos to their football team for showing up in masses. They were energized. Good game. Monmouth's good. Kings got them playing well. We certainly had our opportunities. It's a tough one to let slip when you hold a team to 35% shooting. And we were great on the offensive glass. We got 45% of our misses, and then Dylan was sensational. So a lot of good things. But you're right. We obviously didn't block out well. Our foul shooting left a lot to be desired. We had some careless turnovers that I thought we had gotten across the way they were going to defend us. That ultimately cost us the game. I liked a lot of the things that our guys did, but it's we've had 3 or 4 of those in the road where we've just got to figure out how to kind of get over that hump.
The first time you played them, you only scored 48 points. Last night, you put up 71. What was the difference for you guys offensively? Of course, Dylan was sensational in the first half.
The first time we played them, in some ways, I liked the way we played better. We got great shots. We had a rough shooting night. Last night, I thought they did a really good job of making the game chaotic. Dylan carried us early. And then in the second half, I thought we did a better job of keeping it simpler and just trying to exploit some switches. And like the Doumbia had a good second half by getting to the rim repeatedly. And then because there were a lot of switching, we were able to get on the glass. And I think Ryan Conway's helped us the last couple of games with some,
he hit 3 threes
with some spacing. So, you played a little smaller. I guess we were smaller. So the offenses looked a little better, I think, with some shot making. But then you got to plug up. We didn't control defensive glass. We had multiple opportunities up 6-7 points late to come up with big defensive rebounds. Although we came up with it, and then we had a turnover in the backcourt. Those things are tough to do on the road and survive.
All right, now you got a week off. You'll take on Drexel, who has 2 games this week against Stony Brook and at Northeastern, both of them on the road. You won the first meeting here at CQ. You had a great comeback. You were down 12 at halftime, came back to beat the Dragons. They're a team that really wants to play at a slow pace.
Yeah, it's always good battles up in Philly. Drexel will be ready for us. They're a good defensive team, pretty good depth with a lot of guys back, and they they drive the ball. You know, the kid Blakeney's had an all-conference season. So, you know, we've got to try to, told our guys this morning by text, we've got to figure out how to get, you know, 2-3% better in a couple controllable areas in order to have the success that we want to have. So hopefully that happens through practice this week. So much of your success is determined by your habits. It's not just about being excited when the ball goes up. It's your habits. If your habits are good, you know, usually we can figure out a way to, you know, win some of those. So now we've got to continue to improve some habits in the hopes that we can do a better job in tighter games.
Second time in 3 weeks that you've had a 7-day gap between games. Do you like that this late in the season?
Yeah, I don't even know if I gave it much thought when it came out. You know, we've got some guys banged up, so maybe that haven't been able to practice. So maybe that's a good thing. And I think we can't change it. So now we've got to use it as a opportunity to get a little bit better.
So the Tigers and the Dragons will do battle on Sunday at 2:00 up at the DAC. And again, always a very, very difficult place to play because it's a strange environment.
No, but Philly's a great basketball town, so there's usually good turnouts up there. We've been fortunate to have great housing crowds up there, and you know, we've had, knock on wood, some really good individual performances. Hopefully we have a couple of those ready.
All right, Coach. Just remember, a dead end is a great place to turn around.
Not even sure how to respond to that, you know.
You normally don't. Anyway, that'll do it for this edition of the Tiger Men's Basketball Report. For Pat Scarry, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in.